Hi everybody. I just wanted to say thank you for sharing so many resources this semester with me. I think one of my favorite resources that I discovered, I think Megan suggested to look into it. It's the Collective Vision for Equity in Arts Education from NAEA, and it's like a couple different organizations, Educational Theater Association. But they talk about how the arts are essential and what sort of communities or marginalized groups get left out of the arts, and how that impacts like accessibility of arts in certain schools and districts and communities, which is sort of my overarching theme for this research. And one of the things that I plan to implement in my classroom is talking about unconscious bias. That I discovered, I believe it was through, I know it was Dr. Acuff and maybe Dr. Amelia Cray, their writings. And I wanted to talk about unconscious bias and how it has informed art for a long time and how it still exists in art we make. And so I think that their writing gave a lot of good strategies and things to cover as a teacher, which can sometimes I can see how that would be uncomfortable. So that was a really great resource too. And yeah, I've learned a lot over this research, and there's a lot that I plan to implement in my curriculum. It is a little overwhelming. I think the way that I want to go about it is implementing small things in all of my lessons, especially in terms of like multicultural pedagogy, critical multicultural pedagogy. Even things like that seem as small as examples, like giving different examples of people from different backgrounds or cultures and not just sticking to one way of art and not pushing forward one way of art. And I would love to have a lot of dialogue in my classroom about the people and voices that have been left out of art for all of history, basically, because I think it's impossible to talk about art and teach art without touching on those factors. When you think about like even going back to like materials, how expensive like some materials are and who doesn't have access to those materials. And one of the things that I would really love to do for my future students is give them the opportunities to explore materials that they might not have access to in their daily lives. And that's impacted by, if I'm in a district where it's, underfunded because of the identities of my students and the community that they live in, I'm not going to be able to afford the materials that I want them to be able to explore inside of my classroom. So I've definitely learned a lot, and it's kind of overwhelming. But I will for sure integrate a lot of these things into my curriculum and my daily teaching. So thank you to everyone for the resources that you have given me and all the feedback you've given me. And I look forward to watching your videos. Bye.